Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video and would like to receive notification of my future video postings, please subscribe. In the past several years, I have taught quite a few cooking classes with children. I have taught classes in summer camp, I have taught classes in special events, and also I have taught cooking class with the Boys Girls Club. At that time, I actually taught a 6 weeks course. As in all my cooking classes, my class are all in participation, this including for the children. So the children actually do their own cooking with me provide them with some guidance. The children really enjoy the cooking process. And actually, to my great surprise, they take pride in what they have cooked. I remember once I did a cooking class in an outdoor event. One of the girl who cooked the fried rice, and everybody else was eating their fried rice, and she did not. So I asked her, why didn't you eat your fried rice? She said, it tastes so great. I want to take it home and share with my mother. We have a close friend and neighbor. I will call her Sam for the purpose of this video. She has been asking me to help her to do prepping. So one day we went out actually to shop together, and then we stopped back in her house and we prepped together. Right around 3:30, her son and her daughter came back from school. They got off the school bus. All of them has been to my cooking class, and they enjoy the cooking with me. Her son is about 8 years old, and when he walked in the kitchen, he saw us doing prepping, and he asked us, what are we doing? At that time, I was just about to show Sam how to dice onion. So he said, well, he would like to watch us what we are doing. After we finished the dicing, he said to me, you know, that looks really fun. I would like to try it. Would you mind teaching me how to do it? I was a little bit worried, and I don't know how well he is going to handle the knife. So I first start teach him how to use the claw technique, how to hold the food ingredients, and then how to use the knife gently in the cutting process. In many ways, to my surprise, he caught on almost immediately. He mastered the claw technique in just about a few minutes, and he was able to slice the onion very thin, and he was very careful, and he truly respected the knife. By that time, we almost finished prepping, and it was almost about 4:30, and I have to leave and go home to cook dinner for my family, so I left. A week later, I received a phone call, and to my surprise, it was Oscar on the other side of the phone. He said he talked to his mother, and they decided that he will start doing some of the prepping to help her out. And he asked me, could I give him another lesson so he can master the knife and use it for not just cut onion, but also for other ingredients as well. And of course, this is music to my ear. I am more than happy to help him out. So I decided I'm going to set him up as much as I possibly can. So I got a knife that I will give it to him, which is a knife that is what is known as a Chinese vegetable knife. This knife has a blunt end, which actually is a safer knife to use. I also got a knife sharpener, so he can sharpen his knife every time when he ready to use the knife. So it is important to keep the knife sharp. As they said, a sharp knife is much safer than a dull knife. So the first lesson I'm going to show Oscar is how to sharpen his knife and how to test the sharpness of the knife. And then we're going to go through the claw technique again. And then we will do some practice of cutting different type of food ingredients. So I decided to put this process on the video because I know some of you who have been watching my video, you are beginning cooks, and so I thought you might find this also useful in help you to do your prep. The knife sharpener that I use has 3 stages. The first stage, what they call the coarse stage. That is when the knife is really, really dull. And the second stage is called the fine-tune stage. And the last stage is for honing the knife. Sharpening the knife is really simple. All you have to do is to pull the knife through the stages. Now, most of the time, I only use the second stages, and because that is enough to get the knife sharp. I do not use the honing stage unless I want a knife to be very, very sharp. So most of the time when you test whether your knife is sharp or not, the best way to do, of course, is to feel it with your finger. You can tell whether the knife is sharp. But the other way to actually make sure that how you feel about the knife is clearly sharp is to try to slice through a paper with the knife, as I have shown here. As you can see here, if the knife is dull, it will not cut through the paper at all, no matter how hard you try. But if you take a sharp knife, once you slightly make a nick to the paper, it will cut right through the paper. The sharper the knife, the easier for it to cut through the paper. I usually have some paper around that for me to use to do the paper test, and it is a very good way to ensure your knife is sharp enough. This paper test turned out to be really useful. It is the standard test that people use for testing the sharpness of their knife. For those of you who haven't seen my other video in discussing the claw technique, I'm going to give you a quick demonstration of how the claw technique works. The claw technique is very simple. All you have to do is that to hold your hand with the finger tucked underneath your knuckles, just like a claw of a bird. And now normally most people when they cut, they extended their finger to hold down the food ingredients. The problem with that is that the extension of the finger can lead to accidentally cutting the tips of the finger, so you all have to be constantly aware of where the knife is. Furthermore, using this method, you cannot cut your ingredients very thin. So when you use the claw techniques, you're always aware of where the knife is through a tactile sensation between the knuckle or the back of the finger with the blade of the knife. In fact, with the claw techniques, you don't even have to look because you know exactly the position of the knife. So here's an example of slicing some carrot. Now, carrots actually is pretty hard to slice, particularly if you want to slice it very thin. But now with the claw technique, you will know exactly where the position of the knife is. So you can slice the carrot as thin as you would like. Otherwise, if you have extend your finger to hold the carrot, you will be constantly worried about cutting your finger with the knife. This technique not only works well with large ingredients, but it also works very well with small ingredients, such as slicing this piece of garlic. Because you can constantly gauge the position of your hand and fingers, you can slice the garlic almost paper thin. You can use the same technique for dicing as well. After I slice the onion, I want to dice it. Again, I use my claw technique. I know exactly the position of the knife, so I can move very gently and incrementally as I dicing. So for the next hour or so, Oscar and I are having some practice with cutting different type of food ingredients. I was really surprised how attentive he is and how careful he is in handling the knife at the age of only 8 years old. Several weeks later, I ran into Oscar and Sam at the grocery store. Oscar now go to shop with his mom most of the time because he wants to go to the store and to find out what are the things that he could get that he can cut it up. He become very interested in the cooking process, and the end result, he's also interested in what he is eating. Oscar's sister also become interested, but she's only 6 years old, so I don't think we should give her a knife at this age. When I think about my experience working with Oscar, I see the advantage of the fast cooking system because it breaks into 4 individual components: flavor chasing, advanced prepping, stir frying, and template-based cooking. And all of this could be have a family work together in a cooperative fashion. Each one can take on some part, and this really help to build family cohesion. Later on, when I was at a cooking class, and I told the story to the students in my cooking class, and they were quite impressed. And one lady said, well, if Oscar can do it, I can make my husband to do this as well. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button below. That will help me to expand my audience base. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to receive notification of my future video postings, please subscribe. I'll see you next time.